Hi there. Thanks a ton for ordering a brisket. We hope you enjoy. I'm going to show you guys how to reheat it in your home kitchen. Alrighty, for this brisket, we're going to do the sous vide method. And because the brisket's going to be kind of cold going in, I'm going to set it to 185 degrees Fahrenheit to kind of offset the cold brisket going in. When I put the brisket in, I'm going to lower it to 165. Just to go against the system, I'm going to do 184.9. Ooh! Now we wait. 184.9, absolutely perfect. So, cold brisket. Just gonna dip that right down there. I've got it on its side, so I don't have to worry about it too much. So, here in a little bit, I'm probably gonna flip it over and put the flat towards right here. That's that kind of thinner part. But anywho, right now, we're gonna reset this thing down to 165. All right, so it's gonna stay in here for about an hour to an hour and a half until it reaches your desired internal temperature. And when it's done, pull it out, cut it open, and get to slicing. Alrighty, it's been about an hour and 15 minutes. Ooh, that's hot. So pretty much just pick it up, take your trusty little thermometer, poke it in the middle. Ah, yeah, that is just right. So you only get one shot. Once you break that bag, you're pretty much doomed. Gonna hold this aside, set up a cutting board, and get to slicing. Just gonna throw this thing in a sheet tray real quick. So looking pretty good. Just open that up a little bit. Sure, I don't want to make a bunch of a mess here. Well, I guess that stuff in the bag is also known as extra flavor. Should save that. Real quick, so just the basic anatomy of a brisket. This is what's called the flat, and then this is the point. So when you're down in Texas and you hear somebody say, oh, I want the lean or I want the fatty, this is the fatty. So this is kind of like the ribeye section of the brisket. And this is more like the sirloin section. So it's a little leaner. Both have interesting textures. There's a band of fat that goes in between. So starting off, I'm gonna do the end cut. This is kind of my favorite piece right here. I'll hold my hand. And real, you want to do long, light knife strokes if you have one of these knives. Right there. You can always inspect your handiwork. Looking pretty good. Got some juice coming out. The fat looks nice. It's got a good texture. That's kind of what you're looking for, is where the texture just barely pulls apart. Go ahead and set that aside right there, just for later. So now, if we look at the overhead of this, say I got a knife right here, and then what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna slice going this way, and I wanna stop right about here. So make an imaginary line right about here. At that time, we're gonna take this fatty part off, the point if you will, cut it in half and slice from the inside out and put it all back together. So right here, think about kind of connect the dots. If you just go all the way across, you're gonna end up with a bunch of weird slices back up in here. So what you wanna do is there'll be a little bit thinner here and a little bit thicker going around here. You're just gonna gradually connect the dots and fan out like that. You know, the thickness of the slices are probably like a number 2 pencil. So it's got little pencil, big kindergarten pencil over here. So we'll start off. Oh, it's always nice when you can hear the bark on the knife. So right here, I'm gonna start to fan out a little bit. Notice that they're pretty thin slices. And the goal is that, you know, when somebody eats this stuff, each bite has the right amount of bark, the right amount of fat, the right amount of salt, the right amount of pepper. And notice this hand is just kind of holding it all together. This is a really, really tender piece of meat that was cooked for a long time, chilled, bagged, reheated, and the whole time being so careful to not do any damage, not overcook it in the oven. I think I'm gonna stop right there. So, right there we got, just for fun, let's just see what it's looking like. Yep, it's pretty moist. It's cooked well, fat's hanging out. Ooh. Put that back. So right here, there's a little piece of fat on the bottom side. If you want to cut that out, go for it. Or you can leave it, it's up to you. This is kind of going to be like the money shot of the point. So if your friends are hanging out in the kitchen like, oh, what you got? Or if you just pulled this off of your own cooker and try to pretend that you were up for 12 hours cooking this, that's kind of the shot you're looking for. So, man, this turned out really good. That fat right there, that's the seam fat. So that's the bottom part of that flat. and then this is the top part of the point. This is where the burn ends and all that stuff would come from if we chose to cut them off and sauce them and, you know, put them back in. But man, I couldn't be happier about this. So this is where also we're getting into big kindergarten pencil slices, about 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch, and you can just go straight through. And then once you get to here, start kind of fanning out. So I'll get a little bit thinner here and a little thicker on this backside. And this is where the left hand, or you know, in case you're left-handed, comes in pretty handy. You'll notice I'm starting to kind of twist the knife a little bit. So I want to get as many usable slices out of this as possible. So I kind of just fan that out like that. So right here, this other side, and this has kind of got a little bit of fat here, and if you're gonna make beans or make chopped beef later, this is kind of where you want to get it from. Or you can go ahead and eat it, it's fine too. I'm gonna start off at a little bit of more of an angle. I'm not gonna go do a full slice here, because if I do, I'm gonna run out of good part. So I'm gonna fan it out, use my left hand to kind of hold it together. Notice the angle on the knife. And this is gonna be the last slice of that part. Then I'm just gonna set that aside. So essentially, that's it. So you'll see the back side of that point right there. Kind of fanned that out a little bit. Nice looking slices. This is, I mean, that is what we're going for right there. That looks so good. Couldn't be happier with this. End cut, lean slices, points, and kind of some crunchy burn end stuff right there. There's some pickles and onions in there, a little bit of white bread, and I'd say you've got yourself a meal. Much appreciated. Hope you guys enjoy.